Alright guys, this is going to be my next video. I'm just going to go over macros real quick. There's a couple easy macros that you can use to kind of really help you out. So I'm going to go over them like this. Let's talk about explosives first. So one of the things that I see the most issues with on players is not using their explosives properly. A couple ways to do this. This is my explosive macro, okay? I show a tooltip, and then I do a cast at player for the sapper charge, and a cast at player for the Serenite bound. Now, there's a couple other ways to do this. If you're a melee player, you can just do at player for Serenite Bomb. What this does here is it's the difference between if you do cast Serenite Bomb, this is going to have this mouse over option. But if you do /cast at player, it'll do it automatically. And if you don't need the at player for thermal sapper charge, right? It's going to automatically cast it. You just have it like this. I just keep that there because it makes it a little bit easier for me. Okay, so cast that player. This basically ensures that you're always using your explosives no matter what. There it goes. I hit my macro through the Serenite Bomb at my position. And that's pretty much it. One of the things you can do is you can bind this into an ability, right? So you have an ability that you're always spamming, and I'm not saying this is the optimal way of doing this, but I'd rather you just do this and use some Serenite Bombs or use some of the explosives rather than having to think about it or worrying about hitting the cooldown. The reason I have it as a tank is because I use it for threat separately. So, say you wanted to put it in here in your Judgment spell, and you can tell this is the one that I used for Rep because I had the Hand of Reckoning in there, so it was off the global cooldown. I can just go ahead and bind it together. So what I would do is just throw it in here /cast. You do at player, Serenite Bomb. That means that no matter what, if I hit my Judgment and the bomb is off cooldown, hey, we'll go ahead and use the bomb. Makes it really easy. And you can even throw your sapper charge in it now, so you think /cast, and you just link the item. And I'm just going to throw it here. There you go, you see the bomb came down. And it used it. So, good way to make sure your explosive uptime is high. Same thing with items and using it for gloves, trinkets. So let's talk about mouse over and cursor. So you're a ranged player. Okay. So you're as a healer, you can use at player or you can use at mouse over. So for healing, obviously the cast at mouse over with exist and help. This go ahead and helps you use anything that you want on wherever your mouse is pointing. So it's pretty straightforward. If you've been playing WoW for any sort of time, you understand that this is going to happen. It's easy. Okay. Alright, so there it is on mouse over, and I can use it for other people as well. And just mousing over anybody else around me. What the exist and help does is that if I'm accidentally mousing over something that isn't alive, or isn't actually there, it's like a mini or something, it won't just try to heal that and stop you from casting. It'll just cast back over to yourself, right? That's why I have this like this. The help function is pretty nice. You put in a lot of your macros, and it just tells the game to help you. It's kind of like a smart processing for it. So let's talk about the next one here. So add cursor. This is one I use a lot on my boomkin. Say that I am, go back here. So say that I'm at ranged, and I am just mailing a boss or mailing an item. You can just use at cursor, right? And so say you're casting Shadow Bolt and you have your cursor over a mob. As soon as you hit the cooldown sapper charge on Serenite Bomb, it's automatically going to cast it for you. That cursor is pretty nice. I also do at cursor for Flame Strike, other ground effect abilities. The difference between cursor and mouse over is mouse over actually has to have a target, right? So mouse over, this needs a target. There, where I can see. And then at cursor can be used for ground effects, throw bombs. Okay. It's kind of one of the key differences there, and it helps you out. At player, that's at your position. Now let's talk about gloves and other on-use items. So if you look here, say that I wanted to cast Judgment and I want to use my gloves. Don't get me wrong, the most ideal way to use your gloves as a DPS player is to have it bound separately. I'm not trying to say this is the optimal way of using it. I'm saying that if you are not using it at all, and you just aren't getting use out of it, bind it into a 1-minute ability, bind it into something that you're using, and at least you get uptime on it. A small DPS gain is better than no DPS gain. Disclaimer. The item slot for this is 10. So for the macro for this, just be /use 10. This is the glove slot. Should be a separate mouse over be a separate macro completely. But you can bind it. I do not recommend that, but if you're not using it all, this is the way to go. Alright, so trinkets, obviously /use 13, /use 14. Obviously, separate lines. Personally, again, optimal is to separate, but you can have in macro or in one-shot macro. Alright, so the old Swifty one-shot, you can say, hey, this is my one for my trinkets, and say that you just want to have it on cooldown too. You can also bind it into an ability. The reason why this works for stuff that's off the GCD, and you can also cast it if it's on the GCD. /use 13, /use 14. So if I was using DPS trinkets, use it automatically. So that's pretty much it. Obviously, here's a DSAC one using cancel auras. Cancel aura helps, and you just put the spell. Remove the aura, actually. So I have one form. Obviously, for my salve and everything else, this is what I use. I use a mouse over help. That I can just mouse over people on my raid frame. Flash of light for healing and stuff like that. I use macros for almost everything. This is a very easy way to just increase your gameplay. And then here's my cancel one. You see I cancel Aura, Hand of Protection, Divine Intervention, Divine Shield. I have that bound here. Alt, mouse wheel down. In case I have a shield on me, I can just set my keybind. And it cancels it, so there. I bought myself. Immediately cancel it off the next global. Or not even the next global, the same second. Alright, I hope this helps. If you have any questions on macros, let me know.